up and welcome back to another video. Now in this video we have something pretty special for you. We didn't get a What Wednesday from Wheel of Time and Prime this week, we got a What Friday. Now why did they postpone until Friday? Well, Friday was the 31st anniversary of the release of The Eye of the World. Now that's pretty special in itself, but they gave us something even more special. What they did is they took a little bit of the concept art for the show and they released it. And they released it in sort of a teaser trailer thing like they did with Tam's sword and Tom's guitar. Now, it was kind of the same. We had a few comments from Rafe at the first of the video, and then they dove right into all of the art. So we're going to talk about the art specifically, then we'll talk a little bit at the end of the video about Rafe's comments, both during that teaser and during the Dusty Wheel. Now, Dusty Wheel did do a live stream during the release, and Rafe Judkins, the showrunner, and Sarah Nakamura were in chat, and they did answer a couple of questions, which was kind of neat. So again, we'll get into that towards the end of the video. Now, before we do start with all of these pictures, I want to mention one thing. Thank you so much. We've hit 5,000 subscribers. That's completely all on you guys. You guys did that. You shared the channel around, you promoted it, and we hit 5,000 subscribers. So the contest is 100% on. I know I started it last video, but it is officially on, I guess. So if you liked or commented last video and you're a subscriber, you're entered in the contest, and this video as well, and every video for the next 3 weeks. So at the end of that 3 weeks, basically what's going to happen is I'll pick one person at random who is a subscriber, who's liked my videos, and who's commented on them, and they get one of two prizes. The first prize could be a What Up mug, kind of like the Dusty Wheels mug, or Talk Around Rioids, or the Weekly Wheel News, you know, those frosty beer glasses. It'll be like that. Or, and this is the main prize, this is what you should choose, is co-hosting a show with me of your choice. So you can pick a Wheel of Time subject and we'll yammer on about it for a little bit, and then I'll edit the video together and release it, and basically you'll be YouTube famous like me. So thank you again so much for us hitting 5K here at What Up. I really do appreciate it. Without you folks, this channel wouldn't exist. Now, before we get on to the video, spoiler warning, in this video I'm going to talk about events that happened during The Eye of the World. So if you haven't read The Eye of the World, the first book of the Wheel of Time series, be forewarned, I am going to ruin parts of that book for you. I also will ruin parts of Season 1 of Amazon Prime's Wheel of Time. So if the show is out and you haven't watched it yet, well, we're going to ruin some of that too. Alright, with that out of the way, let's get on to the video. Now, this first picture, it's absolutely beautiful. It shows two people overlooking a giant gorge. Now, this gorge is pretty cool looking, and the artwork is absolutely immaculate, but it caught my eye when I first saw it, and I was like, I've seen that before. And anybody who watches Geeky Eerie, she's one of the writers for wotseries.com, and if you haven't already subscribed to wotseries.com, here's a little plug for them. Their link is down in the description box down below. Go click on that, go bookmark their page. All of your Wheel of Time news that you like to read is there, and if you like to watch or listen to Wheel of Time news, come see me. Alright, with that out of the way, Geeky Eerie had done a video on all of the blocks. Now during her Block 2 call, she did a little bit on some possible set locations. Now these set locations were picked up by people who were walking around with some cameras, and they took some pictures and stuff, and they all seemed to coincide with when people from the Wheel of Time were on set and in the area. Now this particular first picture, now I'm going to show you the picture, and then I'm going to show you the location. Now, do you notice anything different there? Not really, eh? Like, they're pretty friggin' close. Like, that I don't know if the concept artists had done this after the fact, after they had shot the scenes and they mocked this up specifically for this video, or if they had shot a bunch of locations and they went through and they mocked up a bunch of this concept art for the locations, so, the production team could pick where they're going to go. Now, this was pretty neat. Now, this was in November of 2019, I think the 23rd to the 29th, when Wheel of Time was on set here, and it's Vela America. Now, correct my pronunciation if I'm wrong here. I will, write that down in the description box and give a link to Geeky Eerie's video so you can go watch a little bit more information on this particular set location. But this first picture is really, really cool. Now, you'll notice that one of the two characters there, and I believe they're Rand and Matt, is carrying a sword. So, if you had watched the Dusty Wheel, or if you had read anything on any of the Discords or the Reddits or things like that, people were speculating that these pictures were coming out in order. So chronological order, so we've seen these concept art in, this one would first come out, it would be perhaps, the first part of the show, and then the next one, the next one, the next one. I don't think that's the case here. Because if you look at these two shots, you take a look at the shot of the concept art, and you take a look at the shots, the different shots, and there's quite a few of them here, of the actual location, I get a very, very Four Kings feeling from this. Now, if you take a look at all these structures here, and then you take a look at that leaked set picture of Rand and Matt, I think this could completely fit in there, and I think this is Four Kings. So I think we're seeing here Rand and Matt on their own after they split up, after Shadar Logoth, and Rand has his sword, and they're looking down over top of Four Kings. Now, I know it's not exactly the same as it is in the books, but this is such a beautiful picturesque shot that I don't think production could give up on this location, and it just looked really, really nice. Now, I think I've said in another video, this could be, random village number 2, and they just recreated to be another village and another village, but I really, truly think that they're filming Four Kings here, and this is going to be in the show. We're going to see a shot of Rand and Matt coming up over the hill and looking down over this, because it is such an important part of the story in the Eye of the World, and in the Wheel of Time. It's really where Rand knows he channels for the first time, or suspects at the very least. He washes the fatigue from Egwene's horse, Bella, early in the series, and then, so that was his first instance of using the one power, but this really, he gets sick almost immediately after this, and Matt has to look after him. It's really big for the story, and I think that them coming up on this would be a really cool way to either end or very beginning of an episode. So there's that. Alright, so this next concept art picture that they released seems to show what appears to be Beltane. And this is either Winternight or Beltane, so it's a festival or celebration in a village. And if you go through here in the background, you can see what appears to be, kind of what looks a little bit like the Wine Spring Inn would look like if they're doing concept art of this. So Rafe Judkins has already mentioned that we're going to see Beltane in the show. Now, he did that, through Q&A, and we don't see it in the books at all. I mean, we know it happens because Rand basically sleeps through it, the events of Winternight or the attack. And he's exhausted following, the very late evening, and he sleeps through the day with Tam, and then he wakes up in the evening, and they leave the night of Beltane. Now, I think that what probably is going to happen in the show is they're going to be in full swing in Beltane, everyone's going to be celebrating, and the Trollocs will attack in the middle of the celebration. That makes a little bit more sense, because you get to see a little bit more of, the Two Rivers customs leading up to it. You get to see all kinds of really neat stuff. I think that's probably what's going to happen there. They'll be in the middle of Beltane when the attack happens, or they'll consider Winternight Beltane, one of the two, or Winternight will be the night of Beltane, so it'll be the evening, and Rand and Tam rather are on their way in town the day before, so it's quite possible. But anyway, either way, this concept art is absolutely beautiful. I mean, they said there was a bunch of artists that worked on this, and it was absolutely phenomenal. If the show was half as pretty as these pictures, I'd be super pumped. Alright, so the next pictures we seem to have here are Tinker's wagons. Now, this is pretty neat. The first picture is that, they're circled around, they have the fire in the middle, and they're kind of sitting around it. Now, it doesn't quite give you the scope of a full Tinker caravan, and I know they don't really talk about having the wagons circled like that with a couple of people, but this gives us an idea of what they're going for when they see the Tinkers. Now, a couple of people I've seen have already complained that, they're not brightly colored enough. I think actually Daniel Green during the Dusty Wheel said that they need a little bit of LSD to perk the pictures up to make it more Tinkerish. But we've discussed this before, and I'm going to show you here a picture of a Tinker. This was a leaked set photo, so to speak. It was posted on someone's Instagram, and Narg leaked it last year. This is a Tinker. So this is 100% a Tinker for the show, and it's not that eye-blinking, crazy, ridiculously bright colors. It's more muted, but it is colorful. Now, this would work a little bit better on the screen, I think. That you're not going to see fluorescent greens and oranges and yellows and stuff and that's how I imagined it in my mind when I read the books, and I imagine a lot of people thought pretty much the same thing. But it is very colorful for an otherwise drab, setting. So I think that these wagons are probably a little bit more closer to what we're going to see for the Tinker wagons. Now, we do have a couple of shots of Tinker wagons on set, or what we think are the Tinker wagons on set. I'm going to show them here now. And they seem to reflect pretty much what the concept art reflects. So we're batting 2 for 2 here. We have Beltane with the Beltane pictures with the Wine Spring Inn, or what we appear to be the Wine Spring Inn, Amon's Field in the background, and it's pretty close to the actual set pictures we've seen. We have the first picture of 2 people overlooking a gorge, which was the Velka America location. I mean, even to that little bridge in the background, it was almost 100%. And then we have this one here. We're batting 1,000, 3 for 3. Tinker's wagons, they look the same. I'm going to go on a limb here and say this concept art mirrors things pretty closely. Now, Rafe Judkins did say that a couple of these were pretty much spot on. Some maybe were not so close. So maybe the first three were pretty much spot on to what they actually shot in production versus, the storyboards and the concept art. So there's that. Now, we're going to go on to the next picture here. And this appears to be a bunch of riders going over a stream on horses with some woods and, some mist in the background. But if you look real close, real close in the background there's a tower. You have to, move the contrast a little bit and look at it and stuff like that. But there's a tower in this shot. Now, there's been a lot of speculation what this tower could be. So, there has been speculation that this could be the Tower of Genji out in the middle of the wilderness, but that, to me, doesn't make a whole lot of sense because it's not really introduced in the first book other than you've seen it from the deck of the Spray. So when Rand and Matt are on the boat, they see it off in the distance blinking in the woods. It's mentioned very briefly. It does come back later on in the series, and I'm not going to tell you what it is or why because I promised you I'd only spoil the first book. But I don't think this is particularly the Tower of Genji because why would they do concept art for something that is only there for a quick, like that, right? There's also been speculation that it could be one of the towers of Shadar Logoth in the background. That is, I think, more plausible. They could be coming upon the city here, and that is one of the towers in the far distance. But if you look real close, and we're talking real close at this picture, and you've all seen them, they're on Twitter, they're everywhere else, you can zoom in, you'll see what appears to be, in the distance, gates and maybe another bridge far off in the distance in the woods here before you hit the tower. To me, and this may be a little crazy, but to me this screams Tar Valon and screams the White Tower. Now you're not going to see the city because of the trees and whatnot, but it does suggest this road goes down through the woods and leads to this tower. Now, we kind of know Tar Valon's in the first season already because the interview with David Extra last year mentioned some scenes from Tar Valon. This doesn't mean that any of the main storyline takes place there. It could be flashbacks to New Spring. It could be any other reasons at all why we're there. But it does make a lot of sense for production to include Tar Valon in the first season because it is a major city that is showcased a whole lot in the books. Now, some other cities that are in the books in the Eye of the World specifically are almost never showcased again, like Berlin is never there again, so chances that it's Berlin with a big spire in the middle of it, and there's no spires in Berlin, so it's not that. Chances that this is Camelin, again, there's no real big spires in Camelin, so it's probably not Camelin. It really only could be a couple of different things. Could be Shadar Logoth, because, we're going to see this in a minute. Shadar Logoth, what I think is Shadar Logoth looks absolutely amazing, but I think this is the White Tower, and I think this could be further confirmation that we're going to see a little bit of Tar Valon in the first season, whether it be in a flashback to New Spring, whether it be the Blood Snow, whether it be any other reason at all, flashbacks to the Ajas talking, or the Amerlin, or different things, showcasing the Aes Sedai and how they interact with each other, all of that stuff. I think that if they do Game of Thrones style, and like Rafe said, where they're building the world, they're not following chronologically the books shot for shot. They're going to build the world in the first season so things make sense to the viewer. I think that they have to show Tar Valon. So this is pretty cool, and I think we are seeing the tower in the distance. I think it's the White Tower. Now, these next shots we're going to get into here, it's a rider, a cloaked rider, with his hood up, riding off into the mist in what appears to be an absolutely massive deserted city. Now, I'm using the words massive deserted city not because I came up with them, but Wheel of Time and Prime, when they put little descriptions of these pictures up, when they actually posted this video on Twitter, they said it was a deserted city. So this can be none other than Shadar Logoth in my mind. And man, this looks Lovecraftian. This looks absolutely amazing. It's massive. I think Daniel Green said it was like an empty Gondoran city. Yeah, I get that when I see it, but the first thing that popped in my mind was H.P. Lovecraft and his elder gods and where they lived and how massive and eerie and alien everything is. And this looks that way, especially with the mist. If we get to see Shadar Logoth even half as cool as this in the first season, I'd be very impressed. Now, this would make a lot of sense to make an absolutely massive, completely intact city. When I read the books, I imagined Shadar Logoth as fully intact and everything was there and it was preserved in time. Now, I know it was dusty and they talked about rotting and crumbling furniture and draperies and things like that in the city itself, but in my mind, I pictured it just absolutely immaculate but empty. It made it scarier and like a little more creepy to me. So I'm pretty sure we're going to see Shadar Logoth because it's such a very important part of the story. I don't think they would cut that. And this concept art seems to confirm that at the very least they're thinking of including it in the first season, and I'm pretty sure they're going to. I mean, it's where the party splits. It's where all of the things, where everyone leaves each other. When Rand and Matt go off on their own, and they meet, they go on the spray, and they go through Whitebridge with Tom. All of those things happen there. You have Egwene and Perrin meeting Elias and the Wolves. They're by themselves, and you have Nynaeve and Moiraine and Lan together. They're all kind of doing their own little things, and I think that would be a really weird thing to cut that, so they didn't have them diverging like that, because I think that would make for really good storytelling, skipping back and forth between each one of their storylines. So there's that. But again, this concept art, really, really cool for Shadar Logoth, just absolutely immaculate and amazing, in my mind anyway. Alright, so we're going to talk about a couple more things here, and some of them I'm going to have to read. So, I did mention that Matt Hatch, the Innkeeper Hatch from the Dusty Wheel, did do a live stream during the release of this. Now, we all knew they were going to do something on Friday, and they usually do something around 1 p.m. Eastern. So, he went live just a few minutes before that, with two of his guest hosts, Daniel Green being, he had Daniel Green. I mean, Daniel Green is huge in the fantasy world right now. And they did talk quite a bit about the stuff as it was going live. And during that, Rafe Judkins, the showrunner, and Sarah Nakamura happened to pop into chat, and they watched the show, and they did talk a little bit, and they did answer some questions. So these are some things that come up, and I'm going to read them off here. So Rafe Judkins said this is actually really early concept art from the process. There's a couple of them that are very close to final product, but our concept team did some really cool stuff that didn't end up coming in until later to the show. And then things we diverted from a little bit there. And then Rafe Judkins said, which two? And Daniel Green gave a guess. Winter Night and Shadar Logoth are the closest. And Rafe Judkins said, you were right about one, Daniel. So there we go. So either Shadar Logoth or Winter Night is close. And I'm going to guess it's probably Winter Night. As much as I would like to see those pictures of Shadar Logoth translated identically to the screen, I don't think it's going to be quite that way. However, if you do remember the church that they filmed in, I'm going to show you a slide of it right here, this church, this gives me some very Shadar Logoth-y vibes. It did at the time. I think Narg from the Daily Troll disagreed with me, and a few other people at the time said he thinks it would be more of the Dark Friend Social. But again, just seeing these pictures, I can't imagine anything but this being Shadar Logoth. It looks really, really cool. Like, I mean, it's about the same. So then Rafe Judkins said, one of them's correct, sorry for the lag. I must be your nightmare right now. Also, a fun Easter egg. First piece of concept art for the whole show was Moiraine using the One Power. Now, that's really neat. The fact that they did concept art for the One Power, I would love to see that. I just can't wait to see something like that. I'm a big behind-the-scenes guy. I really like seeing behind-the-scenes stuff. I mean, you know it. I like leaks. I like all kinds of other stuff. I like ruining everything for myself before it comes out. So I enjoy the behind-the-scenes part of it. And seeing the concept art for this, I'd pay a lot of money for a concept art book for the Wheel of Time season. I mean, please make us a concept art book for the show, because I would buy that. And I'm pretty sure that most of the people watching this video probably would buy it too. So then Rafe said, we hired about 15 amazing artists from around the world to just dig in on that idea of Moiraine and the One Power. And then we see what it looked like, and did that for a fair amount of things. And then he had to leave after that. He did thank Matt Hatch at that point, and said that a lot of the cast and the crew do watch the show, which, I mean, Matt's aware of that, I'm aware of that. A lot of people from the show happen to watch his channel and watch the Dusty Wheel, and I know a couple of them also watch my channel as well. I mean, we are entertaining with our guesses and what we do, and we do talk about them, so why wouldn't they, tune in for a laugh here and there once in a while? So it's kind of neat. So that's all the concept art that they've gone through in that teaser, and it was, I mean, you got to hand it to Wheel of Time and Prime. They're hyping this stuff up. Now, a lot of people have been upset about the quantity and quality of what they're releasing. They think that they should get more. We should have every casting. We should have all kinds of other stuff. And while I want everything, to be fair, I want every casting right now. I want all the concept art right now. I want a behind-the-scenes featurette right now before the show even airs. I want to see the trailer. I want to see the teaser. I want everything. I do understand that the show is months out yet. You're looking at, if they're picking up filming in April, they're probably not going to finish filming until June. So earliest would be summer. More likely probably the fall for release. As far as I know, they're still doing a 2021 release. That hasn't changed in any way, shape, or form that I'm aware of yet. Correct me if I'm wrong if you guys have heard different information, but I'm pretty sure it's coming out this year. But probably because of the way they're filming and the post-production, all the effort that goes into it, probably late this year. They're not going to really ramp up until a month out, We'll see a trailer a month out, probably for sure. We'll see a teaser before that, but a full trailer maybe a month out. A lot of the advertising and stuff will come out a month out because it seems that Amazon basically advertises for a lot of the shows about a month out, and so does Netflix, and so does Apple TV, and all the streaming services. Basically, you know, you're looking at a month and a half out, they start their advertising blitz because they're trying to get everyone else. Right now, they're doing this just for us. So the only people seeing this stuff right now are the fans of the Wheel of Time, the people that follow Wheel of Time on Prime, and the people that are very passionate about this. So this is, you know, for us. This is fan service, 100%. It's for fans of the series, and I am very grateful that they are doing this for us. I'm quite happy with that. All right, with all that out of the way, I do want to talk just a smidge more about the contest. Just a reminder, if you're not already a subscriber, please subscribe to the channel. Like I said, we're over 5,000 now, which blows my mind. I started this channel about, 15 months ago, and I never thought I'd make it this far. I really didn't. So thank you all very much for that. So be a subscriber, like all my videos, comment on them, and I'm going to pick a random person from the comments who's also liked and is a subscriber to the channel to win that contest. And again, it's a Dusty Wheel style mug, so it's one of the big, frosted beer stein mugs with the What Up logo on it, or being in the video with me with your choice of Wheel of Time subjects. So if you want to know what that's going to look like, take a look back at Maiden Talk. I did it with the Real Deal Aiel and Degrade Mentir a few weeks ago now, and we talked all about the Maidens of the Spear, and it was really, really fun. I had a good time with it. Like it was great, and I want to do that again. So there's that. All right. Well, thank you so much for sticking with me here to the very end of this video, and here's to many more.